When I'm planning a trip, there's two key factors that I like to be able to factor into the plan. When we're building our maps, whether we're using Google Maps or Gaia or something, even more complex or whatever, it gives us the overall, but it doesn't give us the stops. And it doesn't factor in the time that we spend at those stops. So with that in mind, I've built a new trip planner, like an itinerary planner, into MotoRides.com.au. Now it's free to use, but I'm going to show you how it works. Now the two key factors here is, one is we can plan in how long we're going to spend at each of the stops and include whether it's a food stop. Most importantly, also include whether it's a fuel stop. Now with that, we'll be able to determine, based on whoever's got the smallest tank, where we're going to need to fuel up. So let me show you what it works and see if you like it. Oh, did you happen to notice that cool adventure riding t-shirt? Well, you can get your own on motorrides.com.au with 10% off using the code PLANNER10, just because you're watching this video. All right, let's jump into it. Now that discreet little ad. Now, jumping on to motorrides.com.au. If you don't get distracted by all the wonderful tours that are available throughout Australia on our website, then you can go to Tools and then Ride Planner. Now, this is available on the mobile as well. I'm just going to show you the ones I've already set up, give you a bit of rundown on what it looks like, and then I'll show you how to set one up yourself. All right, view trip. So here I've got the title, when it starts. So essentially, we calculate all the time that it takes on a day, both getting to stops and then at stops, and then your kilometres and so on. So you've got the stop. So this ride's starting at 7 a.m. We're meeting at Richmond Macca's. We'll be there for 30 minutes. And then we'll start our ride, and we're just driving 4 kilometres up the road to take us 5 minutes, doing a pace of 48 kilometres an hour to go to the BP. Then at the BP, we'll get to the BP at 7:35 a.m. 10 minutes of that stop, and then it's showing us it's been 5 minutes since we've had something to eat, and it's also been 4 kilometres since we've had fuel. So this is now giving us a little icon here, shows us that this is a fuel stop. And so then as we travel along, we'll then start riding again at 7:45. We're going to do 66 kilometres for an hour, doing 66 kilometres an hour to get us to Zigzag Railway. So it gives us the ETA of when we're going to arrive at a particular stop, how long we're going to spend at that stop. And so it's calculating all the times as we go. And the important thing there is that it's been an hour and 5 minutes since we've eaten and 66 kilometres since we've added fuel. So as we go through each of these stops and they don't have the icon of either eating or fueling, then it's going to add up to that time. So by the time we get to Benbull and Lookout, it's been 2 hours since we've had something to eat. So if we then have something to eat, have a bit of a snack there, it's been 108 kilometres since we've had fuel. So then obviously the next stop, you can see it's only been 23 minutes. So that's the idea, is it's calculating how long it's been since we've had those crucial things. And so therefore we're getting to Caper Tea Pub, 1:45. Again, it's been an hour and a half since we've eaten, 200 Ks since we've had fuel. So 204 Ks cumulative over the whole trip as we go through the rest of it. So that's the idea of the planner, is it gives you an itinerary so everyone can see when they're going to be having lunch and all that sort of stuff, where we're going to be at certain times, but it also allows you to see where you need to, fill up for fuel and so on. And I'll show you in the planner itself how that works. But this is just a little graphic to show pace and the time spent. So it gives you a bit of an idea, saying, well, that first stint there is the longest. So, if that's quite long, then you might want to, add a break into it. And then, of course, the pace as well. This is Bells on a Road, so you'd expect the pace to be a little bit higher. And then we drop into the old Bells on a Road and everything sort of, the pace drops. So that kind of looks to what we'd expect. At the very top, gives us some stats, 8 hours total time, 20 minutes, but also tells us the ride time. So on this particular ride, we're allowing a lot of breaks. So we're only spending half that time actually riding. The pace is nice and the kilometres are not too big. So on this particular ride, we had a couple of beginners. So that lets me know that the pace is not too crazy. So if we're doing a new trip, first of all, we're going to give it a title. This will be the greatest trip ever. Description, whatever, doesn't matter. Let's say we've got low fuel. So we can set our maximum fuel range here and say we're looking at whoever's got the least range in our group. So say we've got someone running a really low range of 250 Ks, then that keeps it really low. The date here is really just a reference to sort the list of your rides. It doesn't really use it anywhere else. And what time we're going to start. Let's start a little bit later at 8 a.m. Hit save. Now we need to add our first stop. So let's add our first point, stop 1, wherever we're going to meet. Let's just say Macca's. So we'll probably spend 30 minutes there waiting for everyone. We're going to get food while we're there. Save that. Add the next point. As you add each point, it saves it as it goes. So say we're going from Richmond to Lithgow. So if we go via Bells, it's an hour and a half and 80 kilometres. So in here, I would punch in 80 Ks, an hour and 20 minutes. So once I do that, straight away it calculates the arrival time based on the previous spot, how long it takes us. So it's 80 minutes. So I converted my 1 hour and 20 minutes into 80 minutes. So it works out based on the previous leave time, departure time at 8:30. Then we'll arrive there at 9:50. If we spend half an hour there, then so on. So you just keep going with that. So maybe the next stop is Bathurst and then back to Lithgow. Just, random examples. That's right. Just rough guessing at this stage. Okay, so if I untick that as a fuel stop, let's just throw these Ks out just to kind of 142 Ks, even though that's not the case. Now we've got that. As soon as we hit these over kilometres, we know that we've bitten off more than we can chew there as far as the plan. So 282 kilometres. So therefore, this will need to be a fuel stop. So I can then flag that as a fuel stop, and then that fixes everything. The whole point of this calculator is to give you the planning to be able to determine where you're going to need to stop for fuel and, more importantly, food. We've got two things that kind of tell us where we're going to have lunch. One is based on the time. So we can see there that it's 12:30. But it's also been an hour and 45 minutes since we've had food. So even if we unticked both of those and 3 hours, 35 minutes, say if we got food at the Macca's, which would be more likely the case, then by the time we're getting to Lithgow, again, it's 12:30, so it's lunchtime, but it's been 3 hours and 5 minutes since we've had something to eat. People are going to start to get hangry around then. So it might be that while we're doing a fuel stop in Bathurst, we're also going to grab some food there as well. That means it's only been an hour. So that's the whole point of the tool, is that it basically gives you that ability to do all that planning, and then you can turn to your view, and that gives you the view here, which shows us the times, plus the icons showing where we're going to making those stops. And then you can just share that. So you can just copy that link, share it on Facebook and so on. It's also viewable and editable on a mobile phone, so you can use this on both phone and desktop. So yeah, that's our little planner.
Jump on and give it a go. Works on mobiles as well as desktop. If you've got any feedback, drop me an email, vern@motorides.com.au. Happy to hear any feedback that can make that better. Enjoy it.